Since I came to this conference, there is a word that has been coming back very often, is that we focus, we invest in people. And this Roman Catholic social doctrine policy, the preferential option for the poor or the vulnerable has been guiding the talks here. So talking about sexual violence against women and girls is one of the examples that we are a caring community and a community that wants that people should be respected. Sexual violence, however, has not been in the discourse until very recently, especially connected to development. It has been often said that violence against women is a private family affair and therefore should be dealt with at that level. But it has now been brought to light that it is no longer a private issue of individuals, but a global issue. I come from Burundi, and what we are going to share is what the church in Burundi is doing. And when I looked at the program, they say you only have 10 minutes. Then I said, how can you give to an African preacher 10 minutes? That's it, but they taught me also that if you can't make your point in 5 minutes, therefore you are only talking. I will try and use the 9 minutes, and Vina, please call me when I go beyond that. Burundi is a very small country in Central Africa, and it's only known when we have violence, political or other sorts of violence, like at this particular moment, when France 24 and all other Al Jazeera and others are talking about Burundi. It is so small that you cannot write the name Burundi within Burundi. You have to write it in Tanzania, or Bujumbura, you write it in RDC. So we always borrow and need partnership, even when we are talking about Burundi. Regarding the sexual violence, the church, the Anglican Church of Burundi, got interested after seeing the survivors of different cycles of wars that Burundi has known. And we found that women and children were the main victims or survivors, as we call them now. And we called upon other churches, Roman Catholic government, and so on, to come and help, because Burundi is religious, if I can use that one, with 75% of Christians, 5 Muslims, or between 20 and who are of other religion, tradition, and so on, but not known very well. We heard the cries of the people, the cries of survivors. Those who were saying, I was coming from church and it was being dark. We met 3 men, and they asked us where we came from, and so on. I remained silent because my husband said we have to avoid stigma and exclusion. But there was also this cry, I don't know what it is on that, from this girl, that a military came to our home, violated my mother, and made me his wife. She was only 12. We had this cry, I need support, that I do not confuse the abnormal character of perpetrator of violence with my own identity. Many people, refugees, internally displaced people, violence in the family. So we have found that such violence infringes women's integrity, jeopardizes their basic human capabilities, undermines their ability to participate as full citizens in the economic, political, and social life of their community. Furthermore, The costs do not fall on women alone, but on their children, families, and wider society, constituting a major barrier to the achievement of broader goals of equitable and sustainable human development. Addressing violence against women, we have to work together. We have to work together to translate rights to law. But while legal provision can offer some degree of protection to those at risk of violence and penalize those who perpetrate it, they are less effective in preventing violence. We have to improve the legal and justice system, the police training, and so on, because we have found that sexual violence, gender violence is not only a human rights issue, but it's also a justice issue in the community that we live in. The church, therefore, is silent no more. It's not a private issue. We have to intervene and we have to protect. The story today, as we have it, as the Anglican Church of Burundi has experienced, is a very short experience because we started in 2013 with the assistance of Tier Fund and ERD, but with an investment, a very small investment of £30,000. When I hear that some have been using millions and millions of pounds of dollars in their activities, for us we started small. But we started small with the conviction that the mustard seed will give the tree, where we think that the church will provide a safer space. We mobilized people, 12 churches to start with, were engaged in mobilization. We trained pastors in psychology, but also in counseling. There were facilitators which were also trained from the community. The investment still was needed. But we found that young people were more aware of negative impact on early marriages. We found that survivors were accompanied to health care and legal services, and stigma was avoided. What we were aiming at is total participation in group discussions, where 173 women and 90 girls participated in these discussions. But to fight violence needs local leadership and commitment. The impact, we can tell many stories, but what we have found in that short period of 1 year and a half, where the survivors supported with food and non-food items, the local church built 2 houses for survivors, but above all, there was this solidarity within the local community by the church, and psychological support and income-generating activities set up by the local church, especially through what is known within the Anglican Church as Mothers' Union. We have 2 programs, one of literacy and another of basic economic skills, business skills, that have really transformed those communities and given dignity to the women in the community, in the sense that empowering women, you are also empowering the whole community. Church leaders are showing more commitment and involvement in responding to sexual violence. I would give an example of Alexi Musonera. He is a pastor in one of the local parishes, but his name Musonera, which is a Kirundi name, means respect him, but respect them. at the same time. So there's that reciprocity. Musonera is an example of a local leader, because if there has to be transformation, we need these local leaders to address, mobilize, but also equip the community. With Musonera, we were able to address violence against women, as I said, on a local level, where it was increasingly recognized that violence against women cannot be stopped without greater efforts to work with men, not simply around the issues of violence, but also in challenging patriarchal norms and promoting new gender models of positive masculinity. If violence, therefore, against women and children is to stop, men and women must work together. The pilot project has shown us that there are ways in which women, men, and faith communities could work together to overcome this crime, this sin, if I use the faith word. The values are their added values in working together. And if we can, it's true that now, if I remember very well, that even the international community has described violence against women, especially during the conflict situation, as crime against humanity. So this is a call to everybody, so that together I use the 3 Ps in meeting the challenge that we are having. That investment in Burundi is very small, but fighting this type of violence needs long-term investment. There is a lack of understanding of faith structures and influences. We have to bring this into the open. Recognition and respect for holistic nature of faith-based involvement. There is a lack of long-term investment, as I said, but lack of consensus shared theory of change. To do that, therefore, we have to have strategies to prevent, to protect, to provide services, but above all, to partner in this journey. We have to create together a community of caring. And the church wants to be a safe space for those survivors of sexual violence. Thank you.
Thank you so much.